We're kind of between the radars in this area, so the data not as reliable, but based on the latest couple scans that have come in and what has been transpiring as these storms have been moving west to east, that would be the area that we are most concerned with as it does move through portions of Columbia County. Again, not getting in confirmed reports that there's a tornado on the ground. The algorithm in our radar is not showing a debris ball, which is also good news, but what we are indicating is just very gusty winds in general, and that's what's to be taken seriously with this system. As we saw the other night in Dane County and eastward in the Jefferson County and even portions of Dodge, straight line winds of 70 to 75 miles an hour created massive damage in terms of trees down, power lines down, and even a couple of roofs blown off in the Dane County area. And that's what we need to take of note with this system, because it's producing winds that are very similar to what we had the other night and over a much larger area. All right, so again, we still do have the tornado warning. That is in portions of Columbia County going until 6:30. Looks like Sauk County still officially under that, but I would suspect hopefully we will start to see that kind of trimmed away, although we are seeing a little bit of some back building, so we'll keep an eye on that if anything comes out of that region. And then the severe thunderstorm warning for northwestern portions of Dane County. No one in Dane County is under a tornado warning. Now, if you do live in northern Dane County, you may be hearing the tornado sirens due to the fact that the tornado warning is in place for Columbia and also eastern and southeastern portions of Sauk. So that's what you may be hearing out your window right now. You may be getting the alert on your phone if you're close enough to one of these cell towers in the region as well. But Dane County, nowhere in Dane County right now is under a tornado warning. I want to make that clear. But we do have the severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for the northwestern portion of the county. So it looks like Prairie du Sac, Lake Wisconsin, eastward to about the Rio area up towards Partyville is where we are tracking the strongest portion of this line right now, which continues to be very gusty winds upwards of around 70 miles an hour over a much larger area. So remember, tornadoes can be a lot stronger, can cause localized damage that's a lot more intense, but straight line winds can produce more widespread damage, of course, over a much larger area, and can be just as destructive as a weak to moderate tornado, especially when you talk winds that get upwards between about 70 and 80 miles an hour. So that's what we are dealing with here as we move into the evening, which is now coming up on 6:03. Wednesday evening, if you are just tuning in for NBC 15 News at 6, we are breaking in for continuous coverage this evening here of the ongoing severe weather threat. We've been talking about this for a couple of days. We had our first alert day issued for a couple of days now as we honed in on this time frame and what was going to be of some major concern. And when all is said and done, this will likely go down as one of the more severe weather events that we've had in quite some time. We've been watching power outages for the past couple of days. Lee Mills is keeping an eye on what is materializing right now. You've kind of been looking at the data rolling in. How are we doing in terms of those power outages, Lee?
Well, we're seeing a number of power outages across Iowa and Wisconsin. This is the map from Alliant Energy, and you can see all of those little circles indicate an area where multiple customers are experiencing power outages. The total at this point, we can surmise, is more than 15,000 customers currently without power. We know that in Sauk County, at least, there were reports of downed power lines and clearly in other areas all across our viewing area. So we are continuing to monitor this. Feel free, if you're in a safe place, if you have any weather-related updates you'd like to share with us, you can reach us through the app. You can send us an email, news@nbc15.com. You can send a Facebook inbox message. We have multiple people who are monitoring all of those sources right now to make sure that we can share any photos, video, or just anecdotes that you might have based on what you are experiencing where you live. We're also trying to get Bob from Columbia County Emergency Management on the phone. So if anybody up at that Emergency Operations Center is tuning in right now and can give us a call, we'd love to update our viewers on what specifically you all are seeing, since right now you are in the heart part of what we are watching and concerned about. Want to thank all of our viewers who have been writing in and keeping us posted on what is transpiring. Let's go back to Brendan and Dukes now.
Thanks a lot, Lee. And I suspect we will start to see additional power outages as these storms move into an area that's a little more vulnerable than the rest of southern Wisconsin due to the fact that we had all of that damage on Monday, which included a good chunk of northern Dane County, even extreme portions of southern Columbia, Dodge, and Jefferson. That was where we had that extreme wind event that led to the damage. So remember, places more susceptible in this area to seeing trees and power lines down because the trees are already damaged from the Monday event, and unfortunately buildings and homes that were damaged may be more susceptible as well if you have a tarp on your roof because you had some damage there. This is not going to necessarily be an ideal situation as the line of storms moves in. Still continuing with severe thunderstorm warnings for southern portions of Marquette, Green Lake County. That'll be going for the next 20-30 minutes. The tornado warning is for central and western portions of Columbia. That's where we continue to have the best chance of a quick spin-up tornado and overall general 70-mile-an-hour winds. Lake Wisconsin eastward now towards Rio. This is going to eventually move in the Dodge County, Columbus, Beaver Dam. You need to be on high alert here that you will likely be under some type of warning in the next 20-30 minutes. And then as we extend this southward, Dane County not under a tornado warning. I want to emphasize that. If you are in northern Dane County, you may be getting reports or hearing the sirens going off there. It looks like we do have a new tornado warning coming in. Brendan, I'm going to zoom in on this and look at the data. We'll have you kind of maybe read off some of that new data coming in on this warning.
Yeah, they just went ahead and issued it, National Weather Service office there in Milwaukee just moments ago. Again, as you've been mentioning, Brian, this, not necessarily a clear-cut definition of a area of rotation in these storms. We're seeing this surge out ahead of the main line. That always, number one, leads us to believe there certainly could be some damaging wind, but we've also got the opportunity for vortices to develop, and that can quickly turn into a tornado situation. And so that is why right now, new tornado warning right now for Columbia County. This does include Poynette, it does include Cambria, up towards southern Green Lake County as well. But this is going to take us all the way to 6:45. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Partyville, 9 miles east of Portage, moving northeast at 65. So the big concern here, Brian, we've got that, the surge out ahead of the line certainly could quickly turn into an area rotation.
Yeah, there's a surge. Thanks to you for getting that information out to us for this new tornado warning until 6:45. As you just mentioned, Partyville, that's where the storm is right now. That's where we are seeing the gustiest of the winds. And that's going to be moving off to the east and northeast. And it looks like we do have the potential of 55 to about 60-mile-an-hour winds with this little bowing mechanism we have forming, and it's also where we could get a quick spin-up tornado. So on the side of caution, the National Weather Service has issued this tornado warning, which will be going until 6:45. It does include portions of Columbia, Dodge, Fond du Lac, and Green Lake County, so kind of encompassing several counties in that area. Again, this is all part of the main line, which has been producing general winds of 60 to 70, even at times closer to 80 miles an hour. I'm going to zoom back out here and show you what we have going on exactly. And Poynette towards Partyville, Columbia County, you're under the gun right now. There's just a small portion of southeast Columbia County that's not under any type of warning. If you live in Columbia County, you need to be in your tornado safe place at this point in time, just to account for the unpredictability of where this line is going, the gusty winds, and the potential of not only 70, 80-mile-an-hour straight line winds, but also the potential of a quick spin-up tornado. So Columbia County kind of taking the brunt of this line with extensions into southern portions of Marquette and Green Lake County, also northwestern portions of Dodge County, basically 151 north and west if you're in Dodge County, and then even into northern Dane County, not a tornado warning, but a severe thunderstorm warning into northwestern portions of Dane County. So again, that's the new area and kind of the same area we have been focusing in on for quite some time. And as this line moves eastward, we kind of get these surges or little pushes of wind. We had that one initially a little bit further down to the south. That looks like it's fortunately weakening a little bit, and now we're getting a new surge of wind around the Partyville area and now moving north and eastward. So this would be where we have the 60, 65 mile an hour winds, and we have a little notches in there that could lead to the quick spin ups in the tornadoes. So embedded in this line, we're looking at quick spin up tornadoes. That's the situation we're dealing with as this has evolved more into a line of showers and storms, and not so much individual supercells or classic strong tornadoes that you may see in a different situation. All right, we're starting to see this line beginning to move into Dane County. I don't know if we can take a look at downtown Madison sometime relatively soon, and especially looking off to the west, we're probably going to be looking at some ominous looking clouds as that gust of wind moves in. These are not warned, but they are producing winds of 50 to 55 miles an hour and need to be watched closely because they have been teetering on the threshold of some of those severe criteria. There is a live look downtown Madison right now from our sky cam in that direction. As expected, you can see very dark and ominous clouds in that vicinity. Again, Madison itself, no warnings of any kind in play right now, but we are starting to see some of the stronger cells move into western portions of Dane County, down into Iowa County and into Lafayette County. So again, things are going to need to be watched very closely here as the main line of storms begins to push into the area. All right, we are going to go back up to this new tornado warning that is in two portions of Columbia County. We're going to zoom into where this surge of wind has been popping up here this evening, and it is beginning to move east of Partyville now and closer to the Cambria area and points north there. So along Highway 33, if you're familiar with that, that's going to be the area that we keep a closer eye on for some of these gustier winds, which could be as high as about 55 to 60 miles an hour as the storm does move off to the north and east. All right, little wider view once again. We'll take you back here to home and show you what is developing and continues to develop down to the south and west. We are going to be keeping a close eye on these cells. Lee Mills, we've been monitoring things all afternoon. We're getting some new video in now. What are you seeing coming in? Yeah, this is actually, we have two photos sent in from our viewer, Tracy Schultz. Tracy, thanks for getting this in to us. This is a semi overturned there. You can see, looks to be certainly a two-lane highway. Perhaps it could be the interstate. I don't know the specific location, just that it is near Mauston, which of course, those of you who are familiar with that area, that is Juneau County, but it is right next to I-90. I-90 goes past Mauston, so that would be my best guess in terms of the location. Mauston is northwest of Lake Delton, Wisconsin Dells. So when we saw that huge line come through, we now are seeing some of the aftermath of that damage left behind, including a semi clearly running. It looks as if the lights are on at that point. So pretty scary scene there, and just another reminder as these storms move through to take them seriously. All right, thanks a lot, Lee. And we will be continuing to monitor these. And it is our protocol here at NBC 15 when we do have tornado warnings in place or extremely strong severe thunderstorm warnings in place that are producing 70, 80 mile an hour winds, that we continue to cover these until we deem the threat is not going to be severe in nature. So that's why we are continuing to break into our normal NBC 15 news at 6 right now. It's coming up on 6:14. We've been tracking these since around the 4 o'clock hour this afternoon. So we are now going on over 2 hours of the severe weather rolling through the area, and we're not done yet. We're probably about halfway done with this line rolling through. There are some indications that once this gets east of Madison, especially through southeastern Wisconsin, that it may not be as strong, but we're a long way from that potentially happening. And Brendan, you have something new coming in right now.
Yeah, the main concern now, Brian, I mean, I'm just kind of passing along the thoughts from the National Weather Service here. And I mean, I'd agree with just the presentation here on radar that the storms to the south and west looking much more disorganized. They do not have their act together. And that is, some good news for, Madison, folks on the state line. But nevertheless, we're going to be on the lookout for any bowing segments, any surges out ahead of the line. If they are able to pick up some steam, rush ahead and potentially produce some very, damaging wind gusts. That said, the main concern, as Brian has been pointing out, as we've been talking about for the last couple of hours right now, is to the north. And that segment of storms really producing the damage and the most concern tonight. And again, that includes the tornado warnings as well as the severe thunderstorm warnings. I mean, the National Weather Service has just been issuing warning after warning after warning because as these lines surge ahead, as we've been talking about, you certainly can get those vortices that form and eventually can quickly evolve into those very quick spin-ups, as Brian has been mentioning. We are sending our Elizabeth Wattis. She is on the road with our photojournalist Jason Rice in the direction of Boston. We've had several reports of damage, and as Lee just showed us, an overturned semi-tractor trailer on the interstate there near Boston. So a lot of high winds have been reported with these storms. And of course, I suspect the National Weather Service will be out either later tonight, but more so tomorrow to investigate, especially if we've had reports of damage in the vicinity of areas of rotation, of course, any debris that's been picked up by radar. I want to spend just a moment here, just kind of recapping as we hit 6:15 on this Wednesday evening, a first alert day continuing here at NBC 15. Line of showers and thunderstorms making their way across south central Wisconsin. Folks in Madison now starting probably to see some very dark skies out there, lightning, probably hearing some thunder. Want to emphasize right now our entire area, with the exception of Walworth County, is under a tornado watch. That means conditions are favorable for tornado development and severe storms until 10 o'clock this evening. Our warnings are up to the north. Storms are a little bit more disorganized to our south and west, but that does not mean we should lose focus on them. We're still going to be watching those very closely, but folks that are in Columbia County right now, up to Green Lake, Marquette counties, we are watching things very closely as you are seeing a surge ahead of the main line of storms, especially in northeastern Columbia County, now heading towards Highway 73, just to the north of Cambria. A tornado warning also including Markesan there in southern Green Lake County, and also includes the very northwest section of Dodge County as well. So we're going to be watching that segment very closely as well. We also have a secondary tornado warning here down to the south that does include Poynette and southwestern Columbia County. That is set to expire here in just about 15 minutes. I'd say the presentation on radar not looking as robust as this one here to the north, just to the north of Cambria, but nonetheless, we're going to keep an eye as things continue to develop. Couple of storm reports before I pass it over to Brian. We've got Partyville. We have a spotter that's 2 miles north of Partyville reporting power lines down across the road, and a shed that was partially damaged. And we also have a report out of Westfield in Marquette County, 3 miles north of Westfield. That is 3-inch trees broken off along I-39. That is, again, a few miles north of Westfield. So definitely storms doing damage tonight. We're going to keep watching things very closely. Brian?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brendan. As you were mentioning, things not looking as presentable on radar in terms of a tornado threat. That is really good news, but this line continues to pose a general wind threat, typically in the 55, 60 mile an hour range now, as things have had a tick downward a little bit. Not to say it can't re-strengthen, which it certainly can, but this line will be moving into downtown Madison here in the next 5-10 minutes. We're going to be looking for this in the Beaver Dam area, 15-20 minutes. Watertown, about a half hour, 45 minutes, and then, of course, beginning to move out of our area as we move into the next hour or so. That would take us through 7 o'clock tonight. Again, I would suspect that a lot of these tornado warnings may start to be replaced, extended with severe thunderstorm warnings, which would be at least a modest improvement from what we've been seeing, and we will see a general wind threat. We've seen the winds come down a little bit from that 70, 80 mile an hour range, more so in that 65 mile an hour range now. So a slight downward trend in the severity of this line, but not to say it can't re-strengthen, and it will be why we continue to monitor things developing here. And down to the south and west, the line is beginning to fill in a little bit, continuing to have no warnings for Dane County and points south and westward of there, and Rock County, Janesville points eastward. It's going to be a while. It's going to be after 7, maybe 8 o'clock by the time this line of storms gets into your area, and still quite a bit of sunshine through southeastern Wisconsin, plenty of heat, plenty of humidity, and plenty of fuel for these storms to feed off of. So we'll probably start to see this line filling in and strengthening down to the south and west, and perhaps even as far north as northern Illinois and the Rockford area, Quad Cities to the Rockford area, as the evening hours progress. So I don't want to forget our viewers down in that area, down towards the state line. No warnings of concern right now. The ones that we're continuing to watch closely are the ones into Columbia County, which continues to be kind of the epicenter, we'll call it, for where this storm is. So let's zoom back in here and take another closer look. 6:30 is going to be when this portion of the warning for southern Columbia County and extreme southeastern Sauk County goes until. That'll be when that one expires. Let's take a look at the latest kind of frames here in terms of the wind and what has been developing. As Brendan and I have been mentioning, we're starting to lose a lot of the tornadic characteristics, at least in the last couple frames, and more general straight line wind damage. We'll see if that trend continues or if they start to get a little more rotation involved. And as a whole, we still have this kind of surging part right here beginning to move out of Columbia and into Dodge County. That would be where we would have the best chance of the 60, 65 mile an hour winds. Elsewhere, a slight downtick in the winds, probably closer to 55 or 60 miles an hour, and beyond that or lower than that, you really start to get into just some general gusty winds and not as severe oriented as you get into Dane County and points south and west. So a little bit of good news here after 2 hours of some extremely strong and robust storms moving through the area. Things are looking at least temporarily a little bit better. We will see if that trend continues as we move towards 6:30 tonight. We will see if the trend of strengthening continues with this part of the line, Madison south and westward. Speaking of downtown Madison, I don't know if we can take a live look from our Capitol cam. We are just about to see that storm rolling into the Madison area, and you can see the dark skies, and we're looking off to the north and west here, and you can see what I would believe would be the initial rain band beginning to push in there on the left side of your screen there. And again, that's what we're going to be seeing: reduced visibility, gusty winds in the Madison area to 40, 50 miles an hour, and also frequent cloud-to-ground lightning, perhaps some pea-sized hail. Want to point out, no warning for Dane County, but not to say we're not going to see at least some sporadic damage, because things are more susceptible, vulnerable to seeing damage after the event we had on Monday. So just because we do not have a warning in place for Dane County doesn't mean we will not see additional power outages racking up, because that's the situation we are in right now. We've only had about a day and a half to recover from that cell on Monday, and we're just not there yet in terms of getting back to normal. So that will be a secondary concern in terms of what plays out here in the next little bit. All right, we are coming up on 6:23. We are not looking at any additional warnings that have come out in the last couple of minutes. The tornado warnings continue for Columbia County, northern portions of Dodge, and also much of Green Lake County. Several tornado warnings embedded in this line for the potential of some spin-up tornadoes. So let's take one more look at the winds here, and then we'll check in with meteorologist Brendan Johnson for some latest reports. And again, we get these little bowing lines within the main line that can produce the quick spin-up tornadoes and the potential of the 60, 70 mile an hour winds. So that's what we're going to keep an eye on. Brendan, have we had many reports coming out of Green Lake County and Columbia County in terms of this storm in the last 20, 30 minutes? I haven't seen a ton, which could be some good news in terms of this kind of downtrending.
Yeah, you know, that we have not gotten very many reports. I do want to emphasize we do have a new tornado warning to the north there in Green Lake County. This does include Berlin. Just some interesting rotation appearing on radar there that caused the National Weather Service to go ahead and issue that warning. No indications really of any debris flying, but you do have this very broad, this is from the radar in Green Bay, as a matter of fact, and the radar beam is going very high into the thunderstorm, but some evidence of some rotation there in that particular thunderstorm. Right now near Berlin, heading to the north and east at about 60 miles per hour. So this is on the very edge of our viewing area as it heads, into the northeast, more so into the direction of the Green Bay market. As Brian was mentioning, the main concern right now, again, remains this Boeing segment or this area surging out ahead of the main line. Heading into Green Lake County, some bright returns here on radar just to the north of Fox Lake, really Fox Lake included in that, but certainly to the north there of Fox Lake, along Highway 68 to the north of there, and really into the south and eastern section of Green Lake County. So you definitely want to be in that tornado safe spot. We went ahead. The tornado warning for Columbia Sauk counties has been allowed to expire early. That is still being the system still has it in there, it needs to take it away, but do want folks to know that that has been allowed to expire. But as we take kind of a more broad view here of the radar, we've taken a broad view here of the storms as they continue. The main concern is up to the north and to the east, but we are also monitoring storms that are now starting, as Brian showed you, the Capital Skycam now moving into Madison. No active warnings for Dane County, the city of Madison, but we are continuing to watch things as they progress farther to the east, and going to be watching northwestern Iowa County there, just to the north of Dodgeville, just seeing a little bit of a hint of some rotation. They're very broad, but we'll keep an eye on it. No warning issued as of yet. The main concern right now, though, Brian, everywhere up to the north and east here into Green Lake and certainly into eastern Columbia County.
Yep, absolutely. And as you mentioned, that tornado warning for Columbia and Sauk County is going to be allowed to expire at 6:30. So that's about 4 minutes from now. So we will be letting that expire. And as I was talking about earlier, I was suspecting we would see these replaced with severe thunderstorm warnings. And that is the case. We now have the new severe thunderstorm warning for eastern Columbia, perhaps being extended into Dodge County eventually as well, as we are seeing, at least in this part of the line, less of a threat of a tornado developing and more of a threat of just general straight line winds and potentially some hail and very heavy rain that'll be moving through eastern Columbia and western portions of Dodge. We're still keeping an eye on the cells through Green Lake County. That one has the potential of a tornado still. Have had some notches and some rotation in that storm. And then we're going to keep an eye on the development down to the south and west now. This becomes more of an unorganized line, we'll call it, and sometimes these individual cells can have a little better success in rotating. Sometimes they don't, and overall, they have not reached severe limits yet, but we have had numerous reports through Grant County earlier of winds upwards 50, 55 miles an hour. Severe thunderstorm warning, 58 miles an hour, so we're close. We're just not there, though, and you can still see some minor damage from winds in anywhere from 50 to 60 miles an hour, so still take cover as these storms move in, but know that you are not under a warning anywhere Dane County and points south and westward. Okay, let's zoom back in here, and we are going to see what's happening. And again, we're going to continue with those warnings for Columbia and Marquette County. Fortunately, storms have moved out of Sauk and Juneau County, where we had quite a bit of damage reported in the Mauston area, and I'm getting word that our Elizabeth Wattis is up in that area and will be able to give us a live report. Elizabeth, what are you seeing?
Yeah, Brian, we just pulled into Mauston. I want to show you what we're seeing behind us. A viewer actually wrote in and told us about this restaurant here. It's the Roman Castle Italian Grill right on the main stretch here. That roof is torn off of there. Now, I just actually spoke with Juneau County Emergency Management. I met them right as we got on scene. I just talked to them about a minute ago. Good news to report here. Nobody was hurt, but that roof, you see it, that damage of this storm, it tore that roof up there, and there's actually a piece of it laying on the ground to the other side of this restaurant. Trees are strewn around here, construction cones. They're doing a lot of construction work on this main drag here, and everything is just kind of all over the place here. So I did talk to Juneau County Emergency Management again, and they tell me that the storm ripped through here at about 4 p.m. They say that the damage is particularly just about a 2-mile stretch, and right now what they're doing, their crews are coming out and just kind of surveying what they have going on. So someone actually just pulled up here from Juneau County Emergency Management. They're going to kind of look here at this restaurant and places that look similar to this right now with this damage to see what all happened, make sure everybody is okay. Again, I want to report no injuries here, but you can see what the storm did to this roof here at this restaurant. So we're going to keep kind of surveying the area. There are power crews out. There are emergency vehicles as well, just kind of trying to get together and, come together after the storm ripped through here. The skies still a little bit dark, but things are a lot calmer. The winds are down, especially compared to Lake Delton, where we were just at. It feels really different here, but again, some major damage that we're seeing, and we're just getting into town now. So like I said, I'm going to keep kind of looking around. If you are in the area and you know of an area that is working to clean up right now, let us know, and we will continue to report live on the ground. Elizabeth Wattis, NBC 15 News.